Bonjour tout le monde. I'm so sorry that I can't be there with you guys today, but I am in professional development, so I don't really have a choice. I would rather be there with you guys, I promise, okay? But we're going to keep on moving forward because finals are coming up soon, and we have a lot to get through towards the end of this year. So, you should have in front of you guys right now your regular ER verb note-taking guide that we were working on before break. And you should also have the substitute packet that the substitute should have given you, okay, today. If you don't have those two things, just pause me for a second and go ahead and get those both out. You should have done your bell work on the board this morning, and your answers, the sub should have corrected them. So you guys should have done something that looks like this. And you should have had, je regarde la télévision, I watch TV. Nous jouons au basket, we play basketball. Ils nagent à la piscine, they swim at the pool. Tu manges une salade et une pizza, you eat a salad and a pizza. Elle invite un copain à la fête, she invites a friend to the party. And you could have had either vous habitez, vous travaillez, or vous voyagez à Saint-Louis. So you live, or you work, or you travel to St. Louis. Okay? So hopefully that went all right. We are going to keep on working with our ER verbs today. So please remember, let's look at our ER verb note-taking guide. We have all those ER verbs on the very first page, and they all end in ER. And remember, let's go to the second page. At the very top of the second page, we have the different endings for those ER verbs. So we cut off the ER, and then we add our different endings depending on the subject that we're using, right? So I want to make sure first, as we're going through these, that we definitely know what our different subject pronouns mean, okay? So you should see your very first page of your substitute note packet should look like this, okay? And let's go ahead and fill in what je means. Je means I. Hopefully you can do these real fast. Tu means you, okay? Il means he. Elle means she. Nous means we. Vous has two different meanings. Remember, it can mean you formal or y'all. Il can mean they, or means they, and this is referring to boys or a mixed group, okay, girls and boys. And elle means they, but just for girls, okay? So make sure you fill those guys in. That's a good review to have. All right, the first little exercise you guys are going to do is on the first page of your substitute packet, okay? It is essentially the opposite of your bell work, okay? In your bell work, I gave you a subject and then a blank line, and you had to put in the right verb. Now, I'm going to give you a blank line and then the verb, and you have to decide what the correct subject is, okay? So your options for these guys are either tu, elle, vous, or il with an S on the end, okay? Remember, use your ER verb note-taking guide. Look at the different endings. So if we have tu as one of our options, anything that ends in es, any of these verbs that end in es would have the subject tu. If elle, look at our note-taking guide, the ending should be e. Vous, the ending should be ez, and il, the ending should be ent. Okay, so let's look at our example. If you saw étudier with the ent, à Toulouse, so study in Toulouse, you'd want to put the il, right? Ils étudient à Toulouse. They study in Toulouse because that's the ending, okay? I have 10 lines there for you. I'd like you to write out those sentences. You're just putting in the subject, and then you have the verb right afterwards so you know it makes sense, okay? So go ahead and pause me, and once you're finished with those guys, come on back. Okay, so you should be finished now with your page 1 of your substitute packet, which is great, okay? Now we are going to go ahead and now you're going to be in your note-taking guide. So I want you to take a few notes for me. We're on page 3 of our ER verb note-taking guide, okay? It should say putting ER verbs in the negative at the very top, okay? We use ne pas to make a sentence negative. We've seen this before. We use ne and pas, like when you said, I don't like, I would say je n'aime pas. Okay, so you've seen this before. So the ne pas is a little sandwich, and in the middle of the sandwich is the verb. So our formula is our subject, so that's je, nous, tu, il, elle, vous, things like that. Then we have ne. Then we have our verb, so that could be danser, étudier, travailler, voyager, whatever. And then we have pas right after that, okay? So I want you guys to try to put those 4 sentences, those 4 example sentences in your note-taking guide. I want you to put them in French, okay? So I am not dancing. We'll do the first one together, all right? If I am not dancing, my subject is je, because that's me, I. And our verb is danser. And so we conjugate danser to match je, so we should break off the ER and add an E. And then the verb goes right in the middle of that ne pas sandwich, so I'm not dancing. So go ahead and pause me, and I want you to challenge yourself to do those next 3. When you're finished, come back and check your answers. Okay, so hopefully you got those. Hopefully you challenged yourself. So the second one is je ne voyage pas. I do not travel. Remember, we got our ne pas around voyage. The third one should be je ne regarde pas la télé. Okay, I don't watch TV. So regard is the only thing in the ne pas sandwich because we only put the verb in the ne pas sandwich. La télé is an object. That's a noun. So it goes outside. The ne and pas still goes around regard. Je ne regarde pas la télé. And finally, I do not like pizza, which you guys have seen this before. Je n'aime pas la pizza. So the only thing that's different about this n'aime pas is that it becomes N apostrophe. I bet you guys know why. Remember, when we have something that starts with a vowel, that the ne becomes N apostrophe. Otherwise, we could have ne and M touching, and that'd be 2 vowels, and that's gross. Okay? So go ahead and fill in that little sentence right after your example sentences on your note-taking guide. It should start with any time you are creating a negative sentence and the verb starts with a vowel. Fill that in. You need to contract the ne to be N apostrophe. So this would be the same thing for étudier, because that starts with an E. Écouter starts with an E. Organiser starts with an O. Inviter starts with an I. So any of those, if you're saying, I don't organize, you don't invite, we don't study, okay, we're going to use N apostrophe because it's going to be followed by a vowel. All right. Now this next slide is not in your note-taking guide, but I do want you to make a little note of it. All right, off to the side. There's a little difference too. H in French is often considered a vowel. So remember how we learned how to say hot dog and hamburger in French? We don't say ha dog or hamburger. We don't have that H in there. We say hot dog and hamburger. Okay. So because that sounds like a vowel, we're still going to use that N apostrophe instead of ne for ne pas. Okay, because it's a vowel sound, even though it's not exactly a vowel, because it sounds like a vowel. All right, so here's an example that you might want to write down. Elle n'habite pas à Saint-Louis would mean she doesn't live in St. Louis. I know this isn't really a vowel, but when we say habite, we don't say habite, we say habite. So it sounds like a vowel, and that's why you have the N apostrophe. So elle n'habite pas à Saint-Louis. She doesn't live in St. Louis. Another example would be nous n'habitons pas à Paris. We don't live in Paris. So we have N apostrophe before that H for habiter. That's just the one little difference. Okay? All right, so hopefully that makes sense. Once again, you know, if you're struggling a little bit, you can always rewind this video and go back on something that you're not quite sure of, or pause it at any time, okay? All right, so you guys are now going to do an activity with your table partner. So the thing is your table partner might not be at the exact same spot you are, so you can just wait for them. And then once you guys are both done, I'm going to ask you to go up to the substitute, and he or she should have what I called subject cards, okay? And you need one set of subject cards for the 2 of you, okay? So you only need one between you and your partner, all right? And I'm going to explain to you first how you play this game, and then you can go get your subject cards. But you're going to be on On the second page of your substitute packet, you should see 12, numbered up to 12, and with lots of lines on the page, okay? So, here's how this little activity works. You are going to have these cards, and you're going to pull a card from the pile, and you're going to create a sentence using the subject and about what the person is doing this weekend, okay? And then you're going to create a second sentence about what they are not doing this weekend. And you're going to write both of your sentences down. That's why there's 2 lines for each number, okay? Because there's 12 different cards, and you're going to write 2 sentences for each card, okay? So on each card, there's an image and a subject, and you're going to use those to create your sentences. So here's an example. If you pulled this card, all right, and it said, it had this image of somebody playing video games, and it had the subject vous, all right? So you're going to say, okay, I would use vous jouez aux jeux vidéo. Do you see how I conjugated jouer to play for vous, right? And then I have aux jeux vidéo, play video games, okay? Vous jouez aux jeux vidéo. So then I get to use my imagination, and I work with my partner to think of something that they're not doing then. So if you're playing video games, then you're not playing basketball. So vous ne jouez pas au basket. This second sentence should always have the ne pas around the verb. It could be a lot of things. You guys could also have put vous ne nagez pas. Okay, you're not swimming. Or vous ne chantez pas. Okay, as long as you've got the right conjugation with vous. We've chopped off the ER and added the Z, and we put the ne pas around it for the second sentence. So go ahead and go get those cards and start working on those sentences with your partner, okay? When you are finished with your sentences, you and your partner can both go back to your own computers and come back to my video, okay? Okay, so hopefully that game went pretty well. Hopefully you guys understood how to write positive and negative sentences. All right, now I want you guys to turn to page, to go back to your note-taking guide, and we're going to finish up our notes for the day. All right, so underneath where we wrote about ne pas with our ER verbs, we have a big table, okay? And it says useful words to make your sentences better. And these usually come after the verb in the sentence. So I'm going to tell you the definition of these verbs, and then you're going to get to practice them for a second, okay? So bien means well. So under anglais, I want you to write well. And so if I said je joue bien au tennis, it would be I play tennis well. And the bien, these little words are all coming right after that verb. So in this case, jouer. Très bien means very well. Okay, so je ne chante pas très bien. I don't sing very well. Mal means badly or poorly. Tu joues mal au volley. You play volleyball well or poorly. Beaucoup means a lot or very much. Paul aime beaucoup voyager. Paul likes to travel a lot. Un peu means a little or a little bit. So nous parlons un peu français. We speak a little French. Souvent means often. Thomas joue souvent aux jeux vidéo. Thomas plays video games often. Toujours means always. Charlotte travaille toujours en été. Charlotte always works in summer. Aussi means also or too. So je téléphone aussi à Véronique. Maybe you called someone else and now you're going to say, I'm also calling Véronique. Maintenant means now. So j'étudie maintenant is I'm studying now. Rarement means rarely or seldom. So vous voyagez rarement, you travel rarely. And then the last two are a bit different. They're usually answers to things. So if you ask the question, tu parles français, do you speak French? You could say, or you speak French, you would say, terrific, which is super. Super means terrific. And if you ask somebody, tu ne joues pas au tennis? You don't play tennis? Oh, c'est dommage. Dommage means too bad. Excellent. So once you've got all those guys filled in, I want you to go back to your substitute packet, and on that Second page, you guys are going to, under where you just did the last activity, you're going to just speak with your partner. So once again, if your partner isn't right on track with you, just wait for a second. And you're just going to each say how well you are at these things. So you should see a little box like this, okay? So you're just speaking. You don't have to write anything down. And I want you to say je chante, however well you sing. And then they will say je chante, however well you sing, okay? Go through each one. Je nage. Do you swim well? Do you swim often? Do you swim rarely? Do you swim a little? Do you swim a lot? Do you travel on bus frequently? Not frequently? Okay, all these different things. So you're gonna, where the dot 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 is, you're gonna put in the little expression. Okay. The only one you might have trouble with is number 7. Mes copains surfent sur l'internet. So that's like surfing on the internet. Okay, so my friends surf on the internet. What do they say? A little bit, a lot, rarely, often. Those might be the ones to put in there. Okay, so you're just speaking. I'd like you to please speak with your partner on each one of those. And when you are finished speaking, please come back to me. Good, I hope that your speaking went well. You guys are going to do one pretty much last activity. You're on your 3rd page of your note-taking, or on your sub packet, okay? The next page after that one you just did, all right? You should see something that looks like this, okay? So it's a little story that Mark wrote, and he wrote about certain activities, but instead of using the verbs, he used pictures, okay? So underneath the story he wrote, I gave you some space, and you are going to rewrite the story and change the picture to the correct verb. Okay? So make sure you conjugate the verb. You have to drop the ER and add the right ending depending on the subject that they're talking about. So when finished, I need you to check your answer with the substitute. Okay? He or she has all the right answers, and you can go ahead and make sure you've got them. You can go over and check with them. Okay? So let's look at the first one. À la maison means at home, right? And if you're talking about ma sœur Catherine, that would be the L form, E-L-L-E. So ma sœur Catherine is like L. So if we were going to use this image, L, then we have a little telephone, à une copine. She calls a friend, maybe? So we would write, when we're rewriting it, elle téléphone à une copine. So I dropped the ER and just added an E because it's Catherine, it's L, right? So on the bottom, you need to write out the whole sentence though. You need to write it à la maison, ma sœur Catherine, téléphone à une copine, okay? And then you go ahead and for each image, you rewrite it. So in the third one, when they say in general, this could be eat or dine, okay, dîner. You can use either verb. Make sure you conjugate it properly for new. This one, it's J apostrophe, so we know it's A to D, okay? You're studying for French class. And this one, because it's the same image, but it's got an X through it, that means it's going to have a ne pas around it. So we don't study, okay? Because we're on vacation, all right? So I need you to rewrite the story on the lines that are provided on that page. Okay, if you see a little 0, a little O next to a word, that means that you haven't quite learned that word yet. And so the definition is on the bottom. So après means after, mais means my, and parfois means sometimes. Okay, so go ahead and rewrite that. And once you're finished with that, you need to go check with the sub to make sure you got it right. You can do some self-check, all right? And then you're going to go to the very last page of your sub packet, and it's a blank page essentially. And you're going to write your own story. So go ahead and turn to that last page so you can hear the instructions now. You're going to write your own story using pictures for the verbs. You're going to try to mix up the subjects just like the Mark did in his story, okay? You can use je or nous. You can use mes parents for my parents, mon ami or mon ami for my guy friend or girlfriend. You could even use mon chien, my dog, okay? Maybe your dog plays, or maybe your dog swims, I don't know. Okay, you need to write at least 6 sentences, and each sentence should have a picture in place of the verb, so you should have 6 pictures. So you're going to do just like Mark. So if you wanted to say, I call, you could say je, and then you would draw a little telephone, and then whoever you call to, ma mère, maybe, to my mom. Okay? And the sentences don't have to necessarily flow like this, but you can get them to be kind of similar. Okay? What do your parents do? What do you do? What do you guys all do together? I want you to color your pictures, all right? So you can use the colored pencils or markers in the back. And this is due for a grade on Wednesday, so this is homework if you don't finish today, okay? I want you to use this sheet to write out your story, and you might want to space it out. You can write kind of big and have enough room for your pictures because you're only writing 6 sentences, so you have plenty of room. So you want to make sure you fit it all. Okay, so once you guys have finished that, I don't think you'll have much time left in class, but if you do, it'd be a nice time to maybe write some flashcards or go to Quizlet to study. But I hope you guys have a wonderful day, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. À demain. Au revoir.